it's Steve from SnkrTechTalk, back with another video today. For today's video, we will be taking a look at the highly anticipated Nike Zoom GT Cut 4 in the preheat colorway. So without further ado, let's take a look at Nike's newest basketball shoe. All right, before we get into the shoes, I do want to take a look at the box. It is a play off the Nike GT Futures box. This like kind of chromed out box that does say, Nike GT Cut. The size tag label does read GT Cut 4 preheat in Persian violet and chrome. I did get these in a US 10.5. Inside the box, you have some standard tissue paper. Each shoe does come individually wrapped. And then you do get this little like postcard that says GT Cut 4. And then when you flip it around, starting from the top left, it does say 3D molded collar, which is around the ankle collar, and then molded vamp over your foot, exoskeletal for lateral containment. And then you do have a ZoomX 3.0 drop-in midsole, which is really cool. And then you have an RBR X 4-foot stabilizer on the drop-in midsole. You have a full-length Zoom Strobel setup, a Cushlon carrier as far as the midsole goes on the outside, and a generative traction pattern. So this shoe is like Nike basketball shoes on steroids. It very much reminds me of the Nike Alpha Project era, just kind of throwing everything at the kitchen sink as far as the tech goes within this shoe. But getting into these shoes are very wild as far as the design goes. The aesthetics are very like space-esque, and I just kind of thought Nike would have put this shoe out for Wemby. But this is the Nike GT Cut 4, a very wild basketball shoe. And as always, starting with the traction pattern, you have this really wide outsole with this generative traction pattern. It is a semi-translucent rubber compound, as you can see right here. It kind of has a wave pattern going in every which way. It wraps up on the medial and lateral side right here. And from what I'm hearing online, this is a fantastic traction pattern on the Nike GT Cut 4. Very much looking forward to getting these on court. I can't really speak for myself yet as far as how they perform, but I will say they do look very aggressive as far as what the brand is offering on the 4th iteration of the Nike GT Cut. As far as the cushioning goes, that's where this shoe is like literally on steroids. So starting with the outside of the shoe, you do have a Cushlon carrier foam compound at the outside. You do get some nice compression as far as when you do have these on foot. I have had these on foot for about an hour thus far, and they feel wild. So you have that on the outside. It does have a decent amount of compression. And then on the inside of the shoe, the top layered cushioning setup is this ZoomX 3.0 drop-in midsole. It is a full-length ZoomX drop-in midsole, which is just wild. And then it has that RBR X foam compound that acts as a stabilizer. It's a bit of a different color here in the forefoot underneath the drop-in midsole, and it does wrap up on the medial side for some more lateral containment. It's not quite as soft as the ZoomX. It does add some nice stability to the drop-in midsole. And as you can see right here, it does say ZoomX plus Air Zoom. So very much a comfortable drop-in midsole. Probably one of the brand's best to date. It does say this product is designed and engineered at Nike World Headquarters in Beaverton, Oregon for the next generation athlete. So the drop-in midsole itself, if that's all that there was, would be amazing. But then on the inside, you can kind of see the liner right here. You have a full length from heel to toe Zoom Air Strobel setup. I can't stress this enough. The cushioning, yes, it's rather high in the heel specifically. It's not insanely close to the floor up front, but you just get this insane bounce that I don't know that I've ever felt within a basketball shoe before. So this shoe is as advertised, with the Cushlon carrier, the ZoomX drop-in midsole, and then the full-length Zoom Strobel on the inside. Just a wild setup. We'll have to see how they actually translate to on-court use. But from my initial hour or so in these inside the house here, the bounce is crazy and they just feel spectacular underfoot. Now, as far as the fit goes, that's where there is a bit of an issue for me. I went true to size, and I feel like the shoe does run a little bit long. My toe is right about here on the outsole, so there is just a little bit of room as far as the length goes at the end of the shoe. But where I have a bit of an issue is the way that the shoe swoops in so sharply here on the lateral side. My toes are literally like pushing down the drop-in midsole and kind of seated over here, whereas it swoops in, not to mention not only the drop-in midsole, but the shoe itself. Like, you can really feel your last two toes getting bunched up on the lateral side. So we'll have to see how that does once they break in. If you're a wide footer, I would just recommend trying these on because they do come to a very sharp taper and the toe box is very narrow as well. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this shoe. If you have a regular or narrow foot, you should be good to go, true to size. If you are a wide footer, try them on or order a couple sizes online to see what fits your foot best. You do have some nice padding at the back as far as the inside right here goes, so some nice Achilles pillows. The tongue is very, very thin, so you do have some kind of ridges here on the tongue that help with tie down pressure from the laces. Overall, it is a very comfortable shoe. I just think you might have to adjust the laces from time to time because it does have this kind of burrito wrap tongue where it's all connected here on the medial side and then it wraps in on the lateral side. And just the materials, once they break in, you're gonna have to adjust these laces. I am warning you now, but I think for the most part, I am enjoying them thus far. As far as my initial try on, I will be getting these on court through the rest of the week into the weekend. As far as the materials go on the GT Cut 4s, it says molded vamp and 3D molded collar with an exoskeletal lateral containment. It's more or less a patent leather upper, as you can see right here on the shoe. So nothing crazy as far as like premium vibes. Considering the shoe retails for, I believe, 200 USD, 260 here in Canada, a very, very expensive basketball shoe. So really nothing premium with all of these kind of patent leather hits. You kind of get a little bit of like nubuck at the top of the tongue, but everything else is just the same material. So you can bank that this shoe is going to be rather hot, even though it does have these tiny little perforations up the tongue. All of the heat will be trapped within the shoe. That is for sure. So keep that in mind if you're looking at grabbing a pair of these because they're going to be rather hot on foot and they will for sure take some time to break in. Although the materials aren't overly thick, still patent leather or this shiny material definitely takes some time to break in. One thing that I do love is it kind of looks blue and it has like a purple-esque, like a dual shifting color upper. So very cool as far as the overall materials go on this model. Then as far as the support goes within this shoe, at the back of the shoe, you have a very rigid internal TPU heel counter, and then you have all this Cushlon foam that does wrap up the back of the shoe. It should really house your heel in at the back and keep everything snug and secure. And then you have all of these ridges right here, which are pretty firm to the touch, which should add some lateral stability. And then you have that kind of wrap on the inside of the shoe that the brand is saying right here, sorry, the exoskeletal lateral containment adds lateral containment. So we'll have to see how that performs once I get these on foot. You also have a wide and stable base right here, and then a TPU windowed shank plate right here. So this shoe is very sturdy through the middle of it. It's not very flexible in hand or on foot. But I am very much looking forward to seeing how these perform and how they stack up against the other shoes in the series. So a very supportive basketball shoe. Nonetheless, if you're looking for a shoe for positions 1 through 5, I do think this is a model that you could look at because from my initial wearing so far, they do seem very supportive. And then as far as the design goes, I know a lot of people are hating on these, but I actually love the design and the implementation of the tech within the shoe because I lived through the Alpha Project era. I love the overall look of the shoe, the wild design lines, the burrito wrap tongue, the tech, the Zoom X drop-in midsole, and Zoom Strobel setup. All of them are welcome additions to the line, in my opinion, considering last year the shoe was roughly around the same price and we only got a Zoom X midsole. So the brand is giving us far more tech within this model. Not to mention, I do love the overall look, and it does swoop up a lot at the toe box. So it very much has that rocker feel on foot that kind of wants to propel you forward. So a very cool looking hoop shoe. Sound off in the comments what you guys think of the Nike GT Cut 4s. And then really quickly, as far as the weight goes for the Nike GT Cut 4s, they do feel kind of clunky at the back of the shoe, and these come in at 16.8 ounces. So all things considered, for a low top basketball shoe, these are rather heavy. But that's going to do it for today's video on the Nike Zoom GT Cut 4s. Sound off in the comments what you guys think of the design of the shoe and the overall implementation of tech. We will see how they translate to on-court use. I will get a ton of time within this shoe this week. One other thing is the laces kind of have that sparkle or glitter through the laces with gold. Overall, a very cool looking hoop shoe. But as always, if you guys could like, comment, and subscribe, that would definitely help the channel a ton. And check out my Instagram over at SnkrTechTalk, as it is an extension of my YouTube channel with all my pickups, basketball footage, and nostalgia as a whole. As always, thanks for watching today's video, and until next time, peace.